What's up, real MVPs? Ricky Widmer here, and welcome in to another great edition, a fun edition of MVP Sports Live. I'm joined, as I always am, with my beautiful co-host, Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Dave, how's your day been? How's the second year for us on the show, second year of 2021? Yesterday was the first for us. This one's the second, although it's really the fifth.
Second day of 2021, not second year of 2021.
Yeah.
That would be a whole other problem.
Multi-dimensions.
Look, it's going, man. We got a little momentum going. Let's keep going. Let's keep the fun rolling.
Got to keep it productive too. Got to keep 2021 productive.
Yeah, I mean, we talked football yesterday, and I am looking at this board. And I'm going, thank you, God, for not making me talk more football today.
I mean,
there is something at
football.
the show, which I can't wait to talk about because it involves a certain pick that you made yesterday. And I wonder if you're going to keep that pick.
Oh no! I was gonna say right now I am changing that pick later in the show because of said I'm doing the Colin Cowherd of I have all the information until it comes. I don't know why I'm doing like a Trump accent for Colin. What?
Yeah. I don't know if you listened to the Trump call into Georgia.
I heard about it, and I heard some of the things that were in it.
There are a ton of great clips.
We gotta find them. We gotta find 11,000 votes. They're there. We just gotta find them.
I think the best part was there's just a moment where you clearly
check your couch cushions.
And it was just bad. And it's like that came from one man, and we all heard it. And it's like, what do you do? He just plowed right through though. But he forced a fart out live on that call with how many hundred people listening. It was bad.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Thank God that's not the man representing us any.
He also said wubba-dub, which I'm sure people are going to...
Unless it's followed by dubba-dub-dub, then no.
No, but you could easily flip it and have Trump say that to you. So
wubba-lubba-dub-dub. But yeah, we're here to talk about sports, not Trump. We're going to talk a lot basketball, a little bit of football, a little bit of NFL draft coverage. We got the full gambit here, except for baseball, because nothing's really happening right now with baseball. But before we get in, Dave, did Dave just say that's a good thing? Is that what you said?
No, I said I hate baseball.
I know you do. But before we get into it, quick housekeeping. Number one, if you're not in the Discord, join it. Link down below or exclamation Discord and the Twitter get you into that. If you want to support the channel, support the show, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you do with that. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. We're on Twitch every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. But we are also on YouTube at MVP Sports as well. So go ahead, follow, like, sub, at all the places that we are live, so you never miss anything from MVP. And Dave, it is basketball to start the show. It is back. You are loving it. You're like, thank you. I love talking about the basketballs. However, the topic, this is probably the fifth time maybe we've talked about this. It's never going to go away. However, this time I put it on the show because maybe it's a different spin on it, and it's James Harden. It's James Harden, his trade. We've talked numerous times. Will he be traded for Ben Simmons? What other teams are in there? Should he go to the Nets? The question with this one, and this is why I put it on the show today, is there's an article on ESPN talking about when will a Harden deal get done? Because according to the headline in the little teaser, it was like a Harden blockbuster is coming sooner rather than later. I'm going to ask you, are we waiting weeks for this, days for this, a year for this? Like, how soon do you think a Harden deal is actually going to get done?
Well, I'd like to start by just blatantly saying I don't think a Harden deal will happen this year.
Okay.
I'm in the party of Houston has a really good team. They've got John Wall, who everybody had written off, who looks just like John Wall used to look. Yeah. So that's awesome. They added in Christian Wood. Thanks, Detroit, for choosing to not pay your best player.
Christian Wood wanted out.
No.
He wanted out.
We are ignoring that. We are ignoring all of that. I'm just stabbing, at Sophie's pride right here and twisting that screwdriver. So yeah, I don't know what Detroit's doing there. Clearly, they are poorly run.
They rather have Isaiah Stewart than Christian Wood. Like, what do you mean?
and they got to really look for. Can't complain. But yeah, and of course, adding Boogie Cousins, who is coming back off of his back-to-back injuries, looks pretty good out there. Still the same Boogie, still getting thrown out of games. But I do love him as a player. So they honestly have a really good team, and I think they can compete in the West, which I'm laughing as I say it, but it is funny and it is true at the same time. It's one of those great situations where I'm all about it. But I do love what Eric said in chat, and that is the team who kind of stands out as the why it could happen sooner rather than later is a team like Toronto who is really struggling out of the gates. You wonder how long are they going to wait to make a change, you know?
So,
Pascal Siakam out there really sucked out just to start. He finished last season poorly in the playoffs. Jaylen Brown just made him look invisible there. They are really struggling to start the season. Obviously, Fred VanVleet doing a lot of the carrying out there on the offensive end. They lost their centers in rotation between Marc Gasol going to the Lakers and Serge Ibaka going to the Clippers. Like that rotation's already just dead. You got no defense on the back end. So I do wonder, like, how long can Toronto keep this up? And do you think that they should be looking to make a blockbuster deal to get James Harden?
So it's funny that you bring that up because the Raptors were one team because I was working trades while before the show, in between Games Live and Sports Live, Dave was finishing up his work. I'm like, I'm going to work through some of these trades because the article mentioned about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 teams. 10 teams. 7 from the East and 3 from the West. And I had trades worked up for about, let's see, 1, 2, 3. 3 I didn't have a trade for. 2 were questions. And then I had 5 teams that had trades. Toronto was one of them. Now, the thing is, Pascal, like the trade I worked up is Pascal Siakam, Norman Powell, and then either 2 or 3 first-round picks. I had 2 down because it's like you're getting Pascal Siakam. I know he hasn't played well, but you're getting a player that does have the talent in him. We just don't know where it went. Maybe he's method acting for Space Jam and has just had his abilities sucked away or his confidence sucked away. Maybe that's a thing. But like that's the thing. Would the Rockets want Norman Powell and C-Scam for James Harden? And if that's the case, if that's all they're not getting young players, although Siakam isn't an old player. It's just how many picks would the Raptors need to get that done? Because, I put 2 down because I'm like, you're getting Siakam, but really it's like I'm just getting Siakam. I need more picks, I would think the Raptors
Norman
would say.
Powell's not a bad player. I think he's an above replacement level player. I do question the 2 picks or 3. I think because of how late the picks would be expected, they might go and ask for 3 in that situation. I think one of the good things you did about that deal was you kept OG Anunoby home because I think a lot of Toronto fans are still extremely high on OG, especially after signing that contract, which could be a steal long term. We'll have to wait and see, obviously, how that plays out. But he's definitely what could be a bright spot because he is just a 2-way wing with incredible defensive upside, who's just one of the top defenders in the league already. So I think that a new team going forward, led by Kyle Lowry, James Harden, OG Anunoby, fill in Chris and Aaron Baines technically at the center. It's still maybe not done, but we have seen Toronto just have the cojones to make a deal like this before. They moved on from DeMar DeRozan, who has not had a bad season since they've traded him, but they got Kawhi Leonard. They got the guy to win them a ship. And do it again. Could Toronto do it again?
Yeah, and I mean, the first off, the one question I do have is if you bring in James Harden to the Raptor team, you basically have 3 point guards on this team. You've got Fred VanVleet, Dad Vleet Dave. That's what he is. He's the dad mode. Kyle Lowry and then James Harden. Can you make that?
Fred's a natural 2.
Okay.
He's had to step up as a 1 in moments because of their depth in the rotation.
So then it's basically Harden and VanVleet are your 1-2. Lowry runs the second unit.
God, no.
Then what do you do?
Do you
Like
hate
that's
Toronto?
no, that's my question then. Like, how do you make those three
Kyle
guys
Lowry
work?
is your starting point guard. He's never not
Okay.
your starting point guard.
Okay.
That's insulting. You fucking insulted.
I always see you talk about James Harden being a point guard. It's like, then what do you do? Because are you starting all three of them at once?
You could.
Okay.
If
you could, but are you every game in, game out? That's what I'm asking.
I think that might be a closing lineup. I think you might run with those three, OG and a 5 of your choice, whichever one you prefer for the situation. But I do think that Kyle Lowry is your starting point guard. You put Harden alongside him. You got that fantastic. Like that's one of the best defensive pairings. Yeah. And I mean, both those guys can guard at the top and going back into the post, so they can still switch. Like that is disgustingly good combo.
So then Fred's running the second unit.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely. Okay. And then he can split in and split minutes. He can, Kyle goes to the bench, Hard moves over. They do the 1, 2, 3, and they can all switch. Yeah. Again, I like these kind of
movable pieces.
I'm looking for a phrase to cover the three guys. I want to say triumvirate, but I'm like, that is not the
positionless, Dave. Positionless basketball.
Nope, that's not what I'm saying. Rotations. I like these guys who come in that group of rotations of like, you're always going to need 3 because you can never just say one guy's in, one guy's out, and they will just hard swap like that. That's not how it works. If you're a good NBA head coach, I know there's a lot of bad ones out there who don't know how to fucking use rotations. I'm looking at you, Scott Brooks. I'm looking directly at you, you piece of shit head coach.
The Wizards are a good team. I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. They're fine.
Everyone's on their team. Scotty Brooks is a fucking stooge. Sorry, that just hurt me.
Eric says versatility.
No, it's the couple man rotation who can kind of like all 3 of them work together, and I think that's the thing that these 3 guys could do. Being able to be flexible, show that versatility, and run out a combination of 2 out of the 3 at any given point in time gives them a better chance and a better lineup than most teams would have in their backcourt.
To where you always have fresh legs, the 1 and the 2.
Well, you always have fresh legs. You have a ball handler who can create for himself and create for others. Now, that combo is already hard enough to find, but the fact that you have 3 guys who could all do that, get their own and set up other guys for success, that is what would make them unique. That is what would give them the edge over a lot of teams in the Eastern Conference this year. Because you look at a team like the Nets who lost Spencer Dinwiddie, who would not have that guy. So they're basically going back to Karis LeVert, who I'm not going to say he's been exposed this year, but he's going to work to continue to grow his game because he's been asked to do more now. And it's definitely a challenge for him in changing his role.
And the other thing was the player that I think if I'm Houston, I'm asking for, if I'm the Rockets or if I'm the Raptors, R&R confusing me. If I'm the Raptors, I don't think they would budge on him, and that's Malachi Flynn. I feel like the reason why the Rockets, I would want him in the deal is because they've said they want young players, and Malachi Flynn looks early on to be a player that I would want from the Raptors, a young player I would want. Now, the Raptors, I don't think will want to move him because of what we've heard from Toronto, where they really like Malachi Flynn. They like what he's doing. There's a reason why they drafted him. And there's a part of me that thinks, like, yes, you can rotate between Harden, Lowry, and Van Vliet in the starting unit, but if you do throw out the second unit, you even said Fred Van Vliet is more of a 2. Malachi Flynn develops into your 1 of the second unit. Boom, you have a 1 and a 2 for both units, no matter who you're rotating.
A little ahead of yourself on Malachi Flynn here.
I'm just saying they like
in the NBA.
They like him in Toronto
with lifts on.
Yeah, I'm just saying they like him in Toronto, and you can. I see the upside. I saw the upside before it was drafted. I liked Malachi Flynn.
See, since he's been drafted, because he's played for like 30 minutes, and he hasn't done
the preseason. He played well. Now I know he got more minutes in the preseason.
Sure, just like everybody else who got to play against guys who aren't making NBA rosters.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying, I like what I see. I'm not saying he's a finished product, Dave.
He's not making minutes this season. There's a large difference. Malachi Flynn has not played well this season. Now, again, he's only played in 3 games. So it's the smallest of sample size that you can't judge. But he's also turning 23 this year. He's not even a young product, you know?
So if you're the Rockets, are you asking for him?
If the deal is going to fold over Malachi Flynn, does this not sound hilariously similar to what was the Carmelo Anthony deal that got held up for Who's that fucking center who got paid way too much money by the Lakers with Lil All Day?
Timothy Mozgov?
Yeah.
No. Was it Mozgov?
Timothy Mozgov, yeah. Remember how that whole deal was? The pinch point of it was like, we have to have Timothy Mozgov in this deal. Like, if you're gonna hold up a deal for James Harden over Malachi Flynn, you deserve to be just fired, fucking fired. If you have to think about that for more than 0.2 of a second, fired.
I don't know. Maybe it's because, like I said, I look at it and like even from the tape from college, I liked Malachi. I know that it's been 3 games. 3 games he's played.
Yeah, 3 games. Like I said, about 30 minutes. Hasn't made a single fucking shot yet. Not really concerned about that because I would be getting James goddamn Harden. I'd be getting a top 5 player in the NBA. Someone who is a former MVP. Someone who is a 3-time top 3 MVP candidate. Like, I don't even understand how this is even like. Maybe I'm just blowing out proportions here, but
no, it's
the only guy on this. Literally, the only guy on this team who like you couldn't trade. Actually, there's no one. There's no one on the Raptors team who you couldn't trade.
And that's what it comes down to. And what I think a Harden trade comes down to. Either I'm getting an abundance of picks, but yet again, all of these teams I listed
are late picks.
So it's like, okay, I'm getting late picks. And the Raptors don't really have a lot of like young prospects. Like they don't have a lot of young guys that they can throw into it. That's why I've always said the Nets deal is probably one of the best, unless the Sixers throw Ben Simmons into it. Because obviously Ben Simmons would make that the best deal because you're getting fucking Ben Simmons. But like the Nets have one of the best deals because you could possibly throw in Karis LeVert and Landry Shamet, who they only got Sham wet in my mind to try to get this deal done. One of the teams I was looking at though, while we were prepping for the show, is the Indiana Pacers, because in Discord there was a trade thrown out by Mystic, and he said, does this deal go through? Is the Lakers trading, I think, KCP, THT, Kuzma for Victor Oladipo? And you had mentioned, I don't think they trade Victor Oladipo. Could the Pacers, though, be a team that says, hey, we actually like what Vic is doing now. We like this team. Let's get a deal done to bring James Harden in on this team. The only thing is, what is that trade wrapped around? Is it wrapped around? Because I feel like TJ Warren would be in the deal because you got to eat up contract. It's $41.1 million you got to make room for on your team. My question is the main piece of the deal a Miles Turner, or would the main deal of the piece have to be like a Malcolm Brogdon? Which, yet again, I don't know if I'd want to trade Malcolm Brogdon if I'm the Pacers.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, but you have to give up something. Like, Miles Turner's the expendable piece. I don't think that's a problem.
Yeah.
But
would the Rockets want him? That's the thing.
Yeah.
That's my question. Okay.
They're working with what? A Boogie coming off of an injury. Christian Wood is a power forward, not a center anyway. So, like, I think they would be happy to have someone like Miles Turner with that upside still. But, yeah, like, if you're going to get a point guard back, basically, in James Harden, then, yes, giving up someone like Malcolm Brogdon is totally acceptable. Like, yeah, he's a really great player this year. We'll talk about him in a little bit, maybe. But this is a very good Pacers team. I don't know if they're at that point where they're like, we need to go for it. This is our moment in time. Like, sure, I could see that. But right now, like, they're at 5-2 record. They're close to the top of the East. They've got one of the best scoring groupings, I guess, like group of scorers on a team in the NBA. Like, and again, this is with TJ out. So when TJ Warren gets back, you have even more firepower. Like, they've got good guys off the bench. They've got their starting lineup is excellent right now. So I'm just at that point where I'm like, you guys are kind of very good, but it's the question of, are you great? Can you beat one of those top teams in the East in a series? Or is this a situation where you've got a bunch of really good guys, but you don't have a guy who can go off for 45 to carry you in a performance in the playoffs, like we saw last season with so many guys have to do when they're going up against top teams in the NBA. You're going up against LeBron James, great. We need to see top performance. You're going up against, these incredibly talented, top-heavy teams. Sometimes you have to shoot amazing. I mean, we watched Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray shoot about % from the fucking, field last playoffs, and that was an incredible duel to watch go down. Like,
yeah,
there's so many of those kind of guys who elevate their game in the moment, and with this Pacers team, we haven't seen anyone have that chance because Vic was coming off of an injury last year. Obviously, he looks like he's in much better place now. Domantas Sabonis definitely will be in a new place for this team going forward, but he wasn't there. So, like, you've got so much to prove this year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger on just shipping guys out to try to land Harden to win now.
Yeah, and I mean,
it is doable.
Because the two that I brought, like, you bring up a good point of, like, the Pacers, like, is now the right time. Because if you get James Harden, you would catapult yourself into the top teams in the East.
I mean, here's the thing. They're already there by record.
Yeah. But I'm saying by talent, like, you are then a new expectation that we didn't have of the Pacers just by getting James Harden. So
that would raise them up. Yeah.
So you're joining the, like you said, Bucks, Nets, Celtics, Heat, Sixers. Now the Pacers.
Those teams.
They could be above them, but I'm just saying, like,
it's literally like the Nets are up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they would be on pace with the Bucks. I think they'd be on pace with the Celtics. I think they're right. I think they're literally fighting for like the 2 seed.
Okay.
At that point in the East, I think they're that good.
Mm-hmm. Now the question to me is, I had 2 trades that I worked on. One would be, like you said, getting TJ Warren back kind of is interesting to this, because if you're already good without TJ Warren, would you be okay with trading him because you're getting James Harden? That's really the lynch. You're getting James Harden. The first one is basically Turner, Warren, and Jeremy Lamb, and then 2 firsts. The other one is, do you want to keep Lamb because you're sending out Turner and Warren? In that case, guys like TJ McConnell and Edmund Sumner would need to be added to the deal, but because of that, you're adding another one, or McDermott, who, is a 1-year deal, but yet again, with McDermott, I kind of think of, could he be a guy that the Pacers want to keep because of scoring and shooting that he can add in playoff situations? Or would you want to move? Because Eric's right. He could be a piece you add as well. It could be Warren, Turner, and McDermott and picks for James Harden.
That is tough.
It's always moving. It's always moving.
That's tough. I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't have a definite answer on that because, like, I think that moving on from Warren is hard because we just watched him break out, and you don't know, like, was the breakout, should we sell high? Mm-hmm. Is this the best time to get him, even though he's going to be coming off of a minor surgery?
Look at Jamal Murray. Had a breakout in the bubble, and look at how he started this season.
But look, literally the last 3 games, he's been incredible again. Yeah. He started off cold.
That could also be when you're on JD's fantasy team, you struggle, but when he trades you, you have a hot game right after he trades you.
Jamal Murray, I think 3 straight games of like 30 points or 20, 25 plus points. Like, he has been on fire. So again, the sample size is so small, it's very hard to tell. Mm-hmm. I think I would probably sell high on TJ Warren. I would probably sell high on him if I had to. Yeah.
I mean, the other team, the 3 teams, I'll just say, let's take out of the conversation completely. The Lakers, they mentioned, no way they get a deal done cap-wise in my mind. Because, like, I was looking at their roster, and they would literally need to trade, like, yet again, there's the piece of if you have a chance to get James Harden, you get James Harden. But the Lakers know what they have. They're a championship franchise already. They would have to move so many pieces to make that contract work that it's almost like, are we going to mortgage half of our team just to get one guy when we already have LeBron James and AD? So, like, with them, I put NL on my sheet. No luck. Okay. The other team was the Clippers, only because the Clippers would love to add him. Mm-hmm. Possibly with a third team, they might be able to make it work, because you would have to move, in my mind, at least Marukes Morris off that team to make that work. But they're another team that I'm like, it would take so much to where it's like, is it even worth it to kind of go through all the hoops that it would have to do? Because they don't have any main picks also. They already used all their picks to try to get...
That's why I don't think that doesn't get done.
Yeah.
They don't have... I mean, their future pick would be 2028 at this point, 2029. Yeah. So I can't see the Clippers being able to pull anything off.
And then I also said the Celtics, because, like, I looked at their team, and of course, from a fan aspect, like Dave, you would easily say, "Oh, I would trade Kemba Walker for James Harden." I don't think
Kemba Walker for a bucket of water and a mop.
I don't think the Celtics do, though. That's the thing. Like, they would have to either trade Kemba or they would have to trade Marcus Smart. That, like, if those two guys aren't involved in the deal, one of those, I don't think it gets done, because then you're dealing with Daniel Tice at $5 million a year. You're not going to get to that $40 million that you need to make the contracts work. So then you're stuck with the Bucks, who could make a deal, the Nets, who the deal we've talked about before. I think it's like, what, Karras, Prince, Shamwet, and then picks. Could get that done easily. The Sixers' biggest question is...
Eric, don't say that out loud.
What? What'd he say? Oh, no, you're not trading Jaylen Brown.
It'll be Kemba Walker and like 17 of their picked guys who can't get fucking minutes on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, Aaron Neesmith, Langford, who's coming off of an injury, so on and forth.
And if I'm the Celtics, I would target a deal like the one that we've talked about in the watch along a lot, like maybe going after an Otto Porter, like something like that, where it's like you're adding something, but you're giving up guys like Grant Williams, Robert Williams, a pick that, like, we're not using these guys anyways. This veteran, and I'm not saying it has to be Otto Porter, just this veteran can add what we need and some quality minutes in the playoffs.
What they need is a point guard who's above 6 feet tall, and that would be getting rid of Kemba Walker for James Harden. But again, you would have to give up multiple of your young guys that you just drafted and future picks to do it. And I think that would make them the best team in the league.
Yeah.
If you can keep Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, and James Harden, doesn't even matter who the fuck else is on that team.
Yeah.
You're just the best team in the league at that point. You literally jumped the rest of the league. That would be insane. And if Danny Ainge is not there pushing buttons on the phone, trying to make a call happen, trying to get a deal done, I would be shocked.
Dude, he offered his firstborn kid. Yeah. Already born, but offered the firstborn kid. You can just have my son. Here you go. But, like, I only say no luck because, like, we would do the deal. I don't think Boston does the deal to send Walker out of town. Yeah. The Sixers, it comes down to me, like, are you trading Ben or are you trying to warp a deal around Tobias? Like, that's the big question.
Some would say Tobias is their best player.
Some would say, but like,
response on that one.
That's the thing. Like, do the Rockets want to take on Toby, or the Rockets going to stand with the 76ers of, like, Ben's in the deal or there's no deal? Like, that's to me some would be right. That's the linchpin, I think, for the 76ers, though. Like, if this deal gets done with the 76ers, is Ben in the deal?
I think it has to be Ben. James has shown back up. He's played in games. He's not, basically tanking his own value out there. So I think that you do get market premium for him, which would be Ben Simmons.
I mean,
I don't see them going for a deal involving Tobias Harris.
And here's the thing, Jake, cover your ears. Jake, cover those ears. You're not going to want to hear this. If a deal gets done and Ben's not in the deal, Tyrese Maxey to me would have to be in that deal. Like, I'm either getting Ben, or if by any chance I'm not getting Ben, I have to get Tyrese Maxey. Like, that's the thing where it's like, Tyrese Maxey and what then? Like, what else are you giving up?
It would have to be Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, 3 first-round picks, and maybe Shake. Maybe it'd be a Shake for PJ swap or something like that.
Here, let's see. So with those guys, so Tobias and Maxey for Harden works out contractually. If you add in PJ and we add Shake to the other side, would that work? That would work. So a Tobias, Shake, and Maxey deal would work contractually for PJ Tucker and Harden because Shake and Maxey would both have trade exceptions.
You put in Matisse Thybulle as well. You're right. Okay. Put in Matisse Thybulle as well.
Yeah. Because, like, and if I'm the 76ers, do I want to give up all that? Do I, like, yet again, you're getting James Harden. But it would be, let's see.
That's too bad, Jake. I want both.
Yeah, that would work. Thybulle would also have a trade exception.
So Tobias Harris,
Shake,
Maxey, Shake Milton, Thybulle.
For PJ and Harden.
PJ and Harden.
Yeah.
And also 3 first-round picks.
Yeah. Also the picks on top of it.
Maybe 4.
Maybe
3 picks, 2 swaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Probably 3 and 2 swaps. 3 full first round picks. So 2021, 2023, 2025.
Yeah.
And then swaps in the in between years.
Yeah. And then like we glanced over the Bucks. The thing with the Bucks is just Chris Middleton. Like, would you want to give up Chris Middleton for James Harden on that team? And then the last one we haven't mentioned, the Miami Heat. Like, to me, the Heat, I put a question mark because I almost wanted to go no luck, because to make contracts work, it's like you would almost have to trade an Andre Iguodala, and like it would be like Iguodala, Olynyk, and then yet again, are they going to want to trade, or are they actually going to trade Tyler Hero?
Yes.
For the like yet again, you say yes, but is Pat Riley and the Heat going to push that button? How highly do they value Tyler Hero in the future of their team? Like, it's easy for us to say, yeah, if I was there, I would do it. But like, what does Pat Riley think?
Harden.
Yeah, I see him.
James Harden. We're talking about the best guard in the NBA right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yet again,
give him up for this 21-year-old kid who had an okay season for 20 games.
I also feel like there is a reason why Miami hasn't done a deal yet, and it has nothing to do with the players in the deal. It has everything to do with, what does Pat Riley think of James Harden as not basketball skill, as in like an actual person. No, there are a lot of strip clubs down there, which could be a problem, could be a benefit, because he doesn't have to go anywhere. He's right there in your backyard.
Not taking flights to Vegas every other day.
Wouldn't have to take flights. He could be there every night. But honestly, like, Riley's a guy where I would totally see if he thinks that there's even a smidge of like, this guy could be bad for this locker room. That's why I think there's not a deal done yet with the Heat. Has nothing to do with the players. Had everything to do about Pat Riley and what he thinks about James Harden as an actual person.
Well, Pat Riley can walk in there Godfather style and just lay down the rings and be like, do you ever want to win one of these?
Then you're going to fall in line? Yeah.
Grow the fuck up, James.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all it would take.
Yeah. And like,
he's the fucking Don of the NBA. Like,
it's the Godfather.
He is.
He's the one that
I think that's exactly, Mad Rogue. If they're winning, everyone shuts up. Everything is better when you're winning. Mm-hmm. Everything gets better when you're winning. And I think that's the thing. I think trying to say that these teams overvaluing their young talent over literally the best guard in the NBA is insanity to me. Like, I get it. You know, he's not Steph Curry. He's not, the guy who's got the brightest shine to him. He's not the most likable guy. But he's healthy. He has got an effective game that is highly efficient, and he's the best at what he does. Like, I'm confused by saying I wouldn't want to trade a Tyler Hero or a Ben Simmons or a Pascal Siakam or a Kemba Walker. Like, all of these guys are movable in a heartbeat for him. You know?
Yeah.
So.
And this is just something we're going to have to see. Does this get done sooner? Does it get done later? Does it get done never? As Dave says, not going to happen
not this
year. But let's move on. There's two teams I wanted to highlight in today's show. First one of the Orlando Magic. They are one of the two teams that I would say are surprises. Maybe three teams in the top 8 right now. We talked about the Cavs on a past show. The Knicks have been balling out. Although I pray for Emmanuel Quickley's knees. That yesterday, Dave, you were saying, it was either yesterday or the day before, you're like, man, the announcers for New York are really like, hey, man, like, it's really good that Thibodeau is playing Quickley so long. And us as Bull fans are like, yeah, his knees are going to be gone.
He literally played the entire fourth quarter, and they're praising him. And I'm like, okay, I get it, but guys need to rest. Like, short stints, you can give them a minute or two break in there somewhere, and it wouldn't hurt their chances of winning too much at all. But no, Tom, play him fucking the entire game next time. I don't want to hear it.
RJ
last 2 games.
RJ has played 86. Just for the people who can't see Twitch chat.
Yes.
Oh man, like, Thibodeau's great, but Thibodeau will also kill the knees of your guys.
Yeah, they will wear down, I'm guessing. But
Maybe we'll talk about the Knicks later this week. But the Magic are 5-3, Dave. And basically, the question I'm going to ask you is very simple. This is a team that was in the playoffs last year. I don't think we had a question of them being a playoff team this year.
On that note, RJ Barrett leads the NBA in minutes per game. Julius Randle's number 2 in that category.
The Knicks starting 5 is just all in minutes per game. They're just playing all the minutes. I'll ask you, are the Magic legit?
You know what? Depends by what you mean by legitimate. You know, are they a team that will be a playoff team this year? Yes. Are they a team that will dominate the league? No. But they do have a good group. Mm-hmm. They got some fun pieces. You know, I don't think anybody's gonna get like upset about hearing the fact that Vucevic is probably one of the guys who gets the least love, who is a continual all-star, puts up ridiculous numbers, carries the team on his back for the last couple of years. Yeah. He's just a quiet player on a team that doesn't get a lot of national media love. Mm-hmm. Markelle Fultz looking like the most improved player of the year, perhaps. Having great performances. Looks like he's getting some confidence back. He still gets the rim like silky smooth. So, I mean, they've got some nice pieces. The supernova of offense having a 6th man of the year run yet again. So we'll see how that keeps up. But they're still missing Jonathan Isaac. Mm-hmm. And that's the only reason that I'm not going to get too excited.
He's going to be out the whole year, right?
Yeah, 100%. Okay.
Yeah, because of the shortened season, like he would come back around playoff time, and they're just probably going to keep him out.
Yeah, I think he'll get back by then. Yeah. I mean, he literally had surgery during the bubble.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, because his was an ACL, right?
Yeah.
If I'm mistaken. Yeah. I mean, ACLs are not necessarily. Well, I mean, lately it's been like, if it's going really well, like 6 to 7 months, we've seen guys.
Who's had a 6-month return from an ACL?
Lately, most of the guys have been that soon. It's never like. Because we talked about when he got hurt about how, like, oh, he might not even be out a year. Even in, like, football, we see ACL injuries where guys are not out the complete year, where they're already back to practicing. And, like, I want to say 7 months is the earliest if everything's going well. Like, someone can fact check me on that, but I remember us talking about that when Isaac got hurt, that ACL injuries aren't what they used to be.
Oh, yeah, they're not like a hard cap. They're not career enders, but I mean, like, not everybody's Adrian fucking Peterson.
Yeah. And I'm saying, like, I'm not saying he's going to be back in 7 months, Dave, but, like, if it progresses, like, I'm saying even if it progresses and he's able to come back in the playoffs, I don't think he comes back this year. Like, they're going to be a team that's going to say, you know what, just sit and wait. We'll have you come back next year. But
I for the cap space for a disabled player for him already. So if that gets approved, he will not be coming back.
Yeah, okay.
Money to use up.
So that's the same thing the Nets were doing with Dinwiddie. Yeah. Okay. But like
already for them, I think Dinwiddie's on their way to see.
And I mean, I look at the games they've played, and it's like I don't want to rag on the Magic, but the one thing I do want to say is like there's always the caveat of like number one, we're 7 games into the season. Yet again, I know that shortened season, every game matters more. But like. I look at this team, and it's kind of the same thing we talked about with, I want to say it was the Cleveland Cavaliers. I want to see this team in a couple weeks because starting January 9th, they have Dallas, which will be a good test for them, Milwaukee, a series against Boston, Brooklyn. They play the Pacers on the 22nd. They get a shot even later in the year. They're playing like, their schedule isn't that tough. Like Portland's, we'll see how Portland is in February if they've picked it back up. The Suns have been really good this year. They get them later. But like I'm looking at their schedule is not that tough, Dave. They don't have the Lakers once this year. They have the Clippers once on the 29th of January. Like I will say maybe they can be a top team in the East with their strength of schedule, but like I look at the games they've played, 2 wins over Washington. Washington is dog shit this year for the reason you said it. Scotty Brooks doesn't know how to coach.
One man.
The Miami Heat have had a slow start this year. You got the win. That's all that counts. You split against the Thunder, and like your only other loss has been to the hottest team in the East right now, maybe the hottest team in the NBA, the 76ers. So like, I look at it and it's like, I don't want to take anything away from the Magic, but you look at some of their wins and it's like, yeah, you beat who you played, but look at who you've played. Where this may be a team when we get to the playoffs where people are really high on them. Whoa, they're higher than we expected. And then it's like, oh shit, they're actually playing playoff opponents now rather than, the Hornets twice and yet again, the Bulls twice and the Pistons twice.
No, I think that's all it'll be is they'll have a solid regular season. They have a lot of winnable matchups because they have a good centerpiece who stays healthy in Vucevic, and all the other guys around him rotate well enough. Aaron Gordon can pop off every once in a while. We'll see if his 3-point shot continues on the season. Like if he can shoot, 39% from three, they're in business. They can win some games for sure, but I'm not putting this team over in a series against anyone. Okay. I think this is just typical Orlando Magic. Remember last year? They start off extremely hot.
Well, they'll win the first game. They'll always win game one, Dave. That's what they do.
Remember the year before that? They started shooting about 80% from three through like 6 games or something dumb. They were one of the best shooting teams in the NBA. Every year Orlando starts off real fucking hot. So I'm not shocked by this. I'm not surprised by this. They deserve the credit for getting the dubs because obviously other teams can't. But it is not a situation where I'm got any hope for them in, making a run this season at a championship. They're not in that caliber. When it comes to a series when it's best of 7, not a fucking chance.
Yeah.
If that's too upfront for fans of Orlando, get Jonathan Isaac back. This is a year of growing. Markelle Fultz, Chuma Okeke, Cole Anthony. I love your young core. I really do. But you're not winning shit without Jonathan Isaac out there. So.
Yeah. And I mean, looking back the last 2 years through 7 games, they were both 2-5, made the playoffs. In 2017, 2018, though, it's what you said. They were 5-2 to start.
That was
and they did not make the playoffs that year.
Yeah, I think that was the Serge Ibaka year, and they were just hitting every single open shot. It was hilarious.
Yeah, because 2016, 2017 through 7 games, they had just lost to the Bulls and went to 3-4 on that season. So it's yet again, with all these teams, it's you want to talk about them all right now. It's right now, it's kind of it's what I tell Bulls fans right now. Relax. It's only 7 games into the year.
Should the Bulls blow it up 3 days in a row?
Should they blow it up? Who knows? The other
do something with Mo Bamba ever? Do we even care about Mo Bamba anymore? Mo Bamba's song is the best part about Mo Bamba. That's my question to you. What do you do with Mo Bamba out there? He's got an all-star playing in front of him. So how are you supposed to get this man more minutes?
You can't. That's the problem. You can't unless you're going to trade Vuce or Aaron Gordon. But even if you trade Aaron Gordon, that's not going to open up minutes for Bamba. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It ain't going to open up. It ain't going to magically someone slides to the 4 and then he gets minutes at the 5. So he's someone that yet again I liked in his draft class. I liked coming out of college, but it's also back to a conversation we had in the Discord. It's kind of like where you get drafted matters. Where you get drafted matters. If you're drafted somewhere and there's guys ahead of you, there's no play time. How are you expected to improve to the maximum to your potential? But Dave, the other team I wanted to hit was the Denver Nuggets, because they are a team that, depending on who you ask, some may say the sky is falling, because the Denver Nuggets they've only played 6 games. I think they play tonight. So yeah, they're going to play the T-Wolves tonight. So they'll probably be 3-4, not 2-5. I hope they're not 2-5 against the T-Wolves, because I don't think Cat is out there yet. But they're a team that has a 2-4 record. Their only wins are against Minnesota and Houston. Their losses are 2 to the Heat, 1 to the Clippers, and 1 to the Suns. I will ask you, how worried should Nuggets fans be about the Nuggets? A lot, a little, not at all?
I think a little. I think you gotta be at least a little worried about this team. You got a team that pushed really hard the last couple of years, had excellent performances in the regular season. They were a top 4 team in the West 2 years in a row. I think the big problem here is, we've seen what's happened to Gary Harris, and what the fuck has happened to Gary Harris? That's the problem.
Yeah,
they lost out on he's never been the same after his injuries. He's regressed. He's no longer a good shooter. His defense it was good. His offense declined. His defense, got better, but now it seems like even that's come down a little bit to start this year. So
yeah,
I don't know. I look at this team and that's the team that should be probably trading for fucking James Harden. If you want to talk about a team with assets, the Denver Nuggets should trade for James Harden.
The thing is, and I've tried that before. Well, yeah. I tried it for Otto Porter. The problem is, like, maybe James Harden, it doesn't come into a problem because James Harden is a type of player that, what's the word I'm looking for? Demands more assets from you and demands higher pieces from you. Right. My problem is, do they have the pieces to make the contract work? So I'm assuming Gary Harris would be in the deal.
100%.
Will the Thrill Barton would be in the deal. So with those two alone, fuck it. Those two alone make it work. You're right. James Harden just demands more. That's why that would work. Forget what I said.
It's Michael Porter Jr. in that deal, probably. Which sucks, but also, like, if you believe in your team winning a championship, maybe that's the right move to make.
Is it just those three, Harris, Barton, and Porter? And then picks, obviously?
Yeah, probably. I mean, that's from, I don't know if you can give up both Harris and Barton at the same time. I think they need to keep one of those guys maybe, so you might have to switch up something there to make it work. But, like, they're a team that really misses Jeremy Grant. They sort of miss Plumlee. Like, the offseason was not kind to them. And I get it, the overpays happened, or as they call them, overpays. I don't know if everybody else agrees with that at this point, but they're just getting wrecked sometimes on defense, and it turns into a really ugly situation where you just have to – they're hitting that outscore mentality. Like, Jokic has had a great fucking year. The dude's probably going to average a triple-double as a center, which is nuts. His scoring's gotten better. Like, everything about his game has gotten better, but they as a team, because Jamal Murray started off cold for 2 games, now he's gotten hot again. Like, if he stays hot, maybe they'll win more games, or they should win more games, but they've got so many young guys in this roster who probably need to be flipped for a veteran. And it's the, like, frustration of, are you guys there yet, or are you not? MPJ has had to been benched during long series of games where it's just his defense got abused out there, or lack thereof, I should say. So I think this is a team where maybe they outperformed expectations 2 years in a row, and that's great. And we should be happy for their success and be like, hey, their real window is just getting started. Yeah. We could watch, MPJ and Bol and RJ Hampton lead this team for the next, 7 years. Like, they've got the lineup. But if they want to win this year, if they're struggling out the gates and they feel like they need to really focus on winning now for whatever contractual situation, you're already going to end up paying max deals to Murray. Or is Murray's a max, or is it a near max?
I'll look it up.
I think he's well paid. He's well compensated. Let's put it that way. For Murray and Jokic, so, like, you're already set. I mean, I don't know if you need to panic and move, but if you do feel like you do, go get James Harden. Go pay up and get that guy, because he'll be happy to come there and help win. Because, again, that's another team that right there's their big three. They still have enough depth on that bench to try to make something happen. I wouldn't get overly upset at the start of the season, though. My answer is relax.
So Jamal Murray is a rookie max deal.
Yep.
And then Jokic is a max deal.
Right, because Jokic was a second-round pick.
Yeah.
So he had an outright new deal. Yeah.
So basically 2 maxes. And, like, with the trade side of it, now I took out Will Barton because, like you said, you'd probably maybe want to keep one of those too.
Yep.
A deal of, and yet again, you'd have to wait until the recently signed period comes, which I think is somewhere in February. Jermichael Green, Gary Harris, and MPJ make it work. Now, the question I have for that, like the Nuggets, if the Nuggets want to go ahead and make a run at a Harden, make a run so we have someone to help in a playoff push, are the Rockets going to be greedy and go, yeah, we want RJ Hampton, though? Because to me, if I'm the Nuggets, I look at that and I go, you're really fucking with our future there. And, like, it goes on to what you said of how much do you think about the future? Like, they have Bol, they have RJ Hampton, who they really like.
Yep.
Or is it like, fuck it, we have to sell some of these pieces to get a championship now? Because we've seen on other franchises where it's like, especially like the Lakers. Now, of course, their timeline was a little different. You had LeBron James. You're going to make it work when you have LeBron James. Absolutely. I don't care what the fuck I have to give up to get Anthony Davis on this team. And it worked. Even look at the Raptors. We're going to get a deal done to get Kawhi here.
Yeah.
It worked. The thing with the Nuggets is, are you fine with, hey, we're going to run with this group, we don't need to make a run at James Harden? Or are you sitting there going, no, let's make a run. Even if it doesn't work, we swung for the fences.
That's a great question, because it just turns into, would you rather be content with being a good team that makes the playoffs every year, or do you want to strive to be great and win a championship and put yourself in that position? And that's really
because they were close last year. They were close. Western Conference Finals.
They were. And again, sometimes all you got to do is be healthy at the right point of the season, right time, get hot a couple times, and there you go. You could be a champion. But you put yourself in the best position by getting the best players. And I think that's sort of the thing, you know? I do have to ask, you know what? No, I'm like, Denver is one of those teams where you just got to go for it at some point. I don't know if today is that day, but like at some point in the future, you're going to have to go for it, because there's a lot of franchises. There are a lot of teams who are like, man, look at our window. Like, we're going to be set for the next couple years. You as a Cubs fan should fucking know. Yeah. We're going to be set for the next couple years.
You got one.
And I was lucky because you made a trade happen to get yourself a closer.
Which
in the fucking league.
Not getting
something to get there. Yeah. And it's worth it at the end of the day, because you think you are. Washington Nationals, we all laughed about that. Guess what? Steven Strasburg, innings limit. Nah, we can't let him go out there. And this is the best team we've put together in a long time. We got a long window in front of us. What happened? Fucking top talent, Bryce Harper, gone. Other guys on that team who matter more than Bryce Harper probably as far as pitching rotation, all that shit left. I'm not a big baseball guy, but I think the point is that you can either be good for a while, or you can have a real chance at championship and try to strike when the iron's hot. And that it's going to be different for every team. Yeah. Detroit Pistons obviously are a team where they'd rather just be a playoff team and not really care about shit. And that's cool for them. I'm somebody who likes a championship, but I will acknowledge that, long-term greatness is cool.
Now, I was going to bring up what Mad Rug brought up. The Nationals, though, they're only different because after Harper left, they went on a run I didn't even see. Where I will always tell people, like, I'm not afraid of bad takes that I've had, Dave. I have the clip. It is somewhere on this channel where it was you, I, and Brandon talking about the baseball playoffs. And I said, if I'm the Cubs, I'm not afraid of the Nationals. Bring on the Nationals. That's who I want to see in the wild card. We didn't have to play them. We lost to the Rockies. But, the Nationals just went to the World Series and won it. No big deal.
Exactly. The question is, how many more could they win?
And that's the thing. A team, like, baseball's different than...
That's what kills me.
Yeah. Like, baseball's different than the NBA, but it's still true in any sport. Any team can get hot at the right time. Yep. Ergo, the Nuggets last year. The reason why they got to the Western Conference Finals is they got hot at the absolute right time. Just imagine what would have happened if the Suns actually made it to the playoffs. Like, if that bubble team that was that hot made it to the playoffs, maybe there would have been. Now, I'm not saying they beat the Lakers. I'm not saying that. But maybe they do have some great performances, and it changes how we see those playoffs. Like, I look at the Nuggets and I go, you were in the Western Conference Finals last year in a situation that was unlike any other. You're never going to, knock on wood, that we never are in that situation again where we're playing games at Disney because of a global pandemic and it's a neutral site. Like, there were so many things that put the odds in your favor.
Yep.
I don't know if you can sit back and go, we were in the Western Conference Finals last year. We'll get there again. I think this team needs to go ahead and make a move to help them get over that next step, because I feel like this is me looking into my crystal ball, or my crystal tablet as I have in front of me. If they stay pat, they will get to the playoffs. They will play a team like the Clippers in the second round this year, and they will lose. It will not go their way like it did last year. That's why I feel like you make a move for James Harden, because no matter what the situation is, he can get you over that hump and help you get over that hump to potentially, because the goal is to win a title, right, Dave? That's the goal of every season. Like, I know everyone's in different situations.
For some teams, it can be, but it's funny because it doesn't even address their biggest problem. It's just the best talent who's available in the league, and that at some point, talent wins out over fit.
What would you say their biggest problem is?
Defense.
Okay.
They just suck on defense right now. Just flat out suck.
Which, like, I'm trying to even think if there's going to be a guy eventually.
Otto Porter was the guy you had mentioned.
Yeah.
I think he'd be decent for them if they could find a deal to be happy on both ends. There's other guys in the league who are probably cheaper, who could make it work as well. But I look forward to them making moves this year. I don't think they're going to stay pat. I don't think they're going to swing for the fences either with a James Harden deal. But they're one team who has the assets who could make it work easily because they do have young talent. They do have veterans. They do have draft picks. You got everything on the fucking checklist for the Rockets.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'll ask you this really quickly because I did put Otto Porter in there. Apparently, Otto Porter for Gary Harris now worked. It didn't work the other night. That confuses me. If that's the deal, Gary Harris for Otto, is it just Gary Harris and a first? Is it, like, as a Bulls fan, I don't know if I really even want Gary Harris and have him locked down for 3 years.
It does not feel great.
Because what does that do for us?
Nothing.
Kind of a thing. But, like, I guess that deal could work if you wanted to. But let's go ahead and move on, Dave. We'll take a little break. We'll go into Wet Boys, the dampest of dudes, the soggiest of shooters, the moistest of men, and sometimes, maybe today, the mistiest of misses, Dave. There was a misty miss I wanted to give today. We'll see if I settled on it. But these are our players of the game from the previous day. How it works is Dave gives a wet boy, I give a wet boy, and then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids, silver and above, they get to vote on a wet boy as well. And we're going to have some controversy about the patron wet boy today. But Dave, I'll let you take it away. Who's your wet boy? January 5th, 2021.
Sure. Super easy one. We talked about him earlier today. Malcolm Brogdon is my wet boy today. Love the president. Love what he's done out there. He has been low-key, pretty flying under the radar, but just really consistent shooter. I mean, that's all he's been his entire career. Last year was the struggles of trying to carry the full offensive load with Vic out, and his numbers, his efficiency dropped. This year, when they're fully stacked, they look very good as a team, and Malcolm Brogdon just knocks down every shot, what it seems like at times. So happy for him. Again, fills up the stat line. Great fantasy performer as well. Malcolm Brogdon, your wet boy of the day.
So for mine, Dave, I do want to give an honorable mention because not often do we get this. I originally was going to go with a Misty Miss today. However, I got ragged on it by 2 people, and I'm putting them on blast. Soapy and Jake. They don't like inclusion, Dave. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna look somewhere else from the NBA because I want to try to spread the love like I usually tried to do.
Is Jake sexist?
So I'm like, maybe he is. Maybe he is. Who knows? But I wanted to give love to Maddie Seigers from Villanova. Although they lost 94-82 to a good team that both you and I know, the DePaul Blue Demons. Yeah. She went 12 of 24 from the field, 31 points in that game. A main reason, also had 4 blocks in that game too. Fucking ridiculous. But I did not, because the biggest thing was, she didn't win the game. Also, Jake, you better watch yourself in Twitch chat. We have banned people for what he just said in Twitch. Just going to say.
Kind of accusations.
Just people have been banned for that when they are false accusations. I went with my boy, Steph Curry, the best Curry. Double day, second day, 2 wet boys. Both shows of 2021, Steph Curry, can he keep his run going of getting consecutive wet boys on the show? 30 points, had a great game, 9 of 18, 50% from the field.
There's a better player out there.
There was a better player out there, Dave, but there's a reason that player is getting snubbed. And that brings us into the debacle, which is the patron vote today. There was a player out there that deserved a wet boy, Dave. Do you want to know who that is? You probably know who that is.
His name is Giannis.
His name is Giannis. But there is 2 individuals out there, Dave, that have tried to take the wet boy vote under hostage. A hostage takeover of the wet boy, which I will say 2 people voted for the wet boy. For one man who, I'm sorry, played 1 minute in his game and made 1 shot. That's all he did. That's all he did. I'm sorry, that's not a wet boy. And if you think that is a wet boy, you are in the wrong. So there were 2 individuals. Those individuals have been thrown in wet boy jail, and their votes did not count today. So I am sorry. Paul Reed is not a wet boy today, and it went to the second place. Who do you
today.
And that's the thing. They were telling me, oh, Giannis should be the wet boy. Giannis should be the wet boy. Instead of just voting for Giannis and winning, they go and vote for Paul Reed. They get thrown out. So Jason Tatum, congratulations. You're the wet boy today. Jason Tatum's your wet boy. Giannis gets snubbed because the patrons let him down. The patrons let him down, Dave.
You know why? Soapy is salty about his Detroit Pistons getting their ass kicked by Giannis. That's what it is. That's all it is. And here's the fun thing about Jason Tatum. Jake's salty about him because Jake could have had Jason Tatum on his team. The Philadelphia 76ers had the opportunity to have Jason Tatum as the third overall pick. They would have had the best team in the NBA with Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid out there, but instead they look like a fucking joke because they took Markelle Fultz and they gave away a first-round pick to do it. So, I mean, this is just really a sign of our fans and our patrons just letting it get too personal. Letting it get too personal here, you know?
Giannis could have had the wet boy, too. Let's be honest. Like, Giannis could have had it. They could have both said Giannis. He would have had the wet boy. It's exactly what they wanted. But because I said, oh, I'm going to maybe give a Misty Miss, which I decided not to, which also I will say, the thing about Jake, I love you, by the way. When he was ragging on me after I'm probably going to go with Steph Curry, it was almost like Sean was back in the room. Because it was like, oh, you always picked up. It's like, dude, he had a good game. Fucking get off me. Jake's going to be like, check your couch cushions. Maybe there's patron votes that we have lost in this edition of Wet Boys that we need to find out there. Stop the count. Paul Reed has won. No, Paul Reed lost. Jason Tatum is your wet boy. I apologize to Giannis. You probably deserved a wet boy. But because of the votes, you're not going to wet boy today. I'm sorry.
You know what's great?
What?
This show's not a democracy.
I mean, it is.
It's dictatorship.
No. It's like, here's how it goes. Here's how Wet Boys goes. Like, it is a democracy. Usually, except for today, I think only one other time we've had to step in. This is not something to where, like, if you're going to vote someone who only played 1 minute and shot one shot, somebody needs to step in.
There better be a story to go with it.
Bingo. It might have been like, oh, so-and-so got injured. He was thrown into the game and threw up a final shot. Then I'd be like, all right, I fucking understand. That's a fucking wet boy. Like, but if it's just like, oh, he went in, he won, he shot one up. And they were also like, oh, do it to fuck with Dave because Dave would, like, it would get Dave upset. I don't want to make this man upset. I've made this man upset. I usually hate the shows where he's upset. So why would I want to make him upset?
That's true. It's not fun time.
Unless it's funny for me, which
I do love Paul Reed, though. I mean, I wouldn't be upset. I love Paul Reed.
Yeah, again, DePaul Blue Demon.
Jake, watching Paul Reed's 48 seconds of glory out there. So, you know what? It's one of the situations where it is his first bucket. It is a monumental moment, but I don't think it's quite wet boy worthy, unfortunately.
His first career points. That's what Jake said.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's exactly what I said.
Debatable, but
it's not debatable. His first career points.
No. I'm saying like wet boy. Like, is that wet boy worthy? It's debatable. But Dave, let's move on to some football stuff. First off, we're going into draft coverage. Before we talk about this, we got to give a congratulations. Devonta Smith, wide receiver at Alabama, named your Heisman for 2021. So Devonta Smith won the Heisman. That was announced during the show. He became the third wide receiver to win the Heisman and the first since Desmond Howard in 1991. Since Dave and I were 1 year old, we have never seen a wide receiver win the Heisman. But Dave, the topic we're talking about is his teammate, Jaylen Waddle, who had a knee injury earlier this year.
Yep.
It looked like he would not be able to play. However, now there are news coming out that there's a chance Jaylen Waddle can play in the national title game against Ohio State. Dave, the question for this one is easy. Because I know this game is a championship game, and some people out there are going to say it matters because it's a championship game. Mm-hmm. In my mind, this game does not matter to Jaylen Waddle's future. If he wins, if he loses, he has a pro career to think about. Should Jaylen Waddle not play in the championship game and think about draft and where he's going to be, or should he play in the championship game and potentially show that he is the best wide receiver in the country.
So, yeah, I mean, it's entirely based on the draft. That's
Yeah.
Save himself for the. I'm like, no. He wants to play because he wants to be drafted ahead of people. That's the whole point. He's trying to get his stock up from a late first rounder to an early first rounder. That's all it is at the end of the day. Yes, the college experience means something to him. Yes, you can never recreate the memories of being with your team for a national championship run. So I think it's a win-win. If he's healthy enough to go, he should go. Why not? It's his choice. Like, you hear about all these guys who pull out of these games who are protecting their stock. He's someone who's already a first-round lock. Who's like, you know what? I want to win that fucking national championship, and I want to prove to those guys on NFL teams that I'm worth a top 15 pick, that I'm worth a top 10 pick, whatever he wants to set his sights on. Like, I'm all in about that. If he's healthy enough to play and he wants to play, go for it, buddy.
Usually we're on different sides here. Like,
aren't you rational here?
Like, here's the thing, Dave. Usually you and I are on different sides of this argument. But usually we're on the opposite sides than we are now. That's what I find funny. Where I am in this and I'm going, no, don't play in this game. Don't. You have, like, to me, the benefits of playing well in this game are far less than the negatives of playing in this game. Because the negatives I think of, if you have a poor performance or if you have to leave at any point in this game, that's going to be spun negatively. Yeah. Also, there's the big red flag of, I know I've been in the past a person that has said, well, injuries can happen no matter what game. But when you're coming off of a bad leg injury right before a draft, I would really take that into account for this game. Because if you get injured in this game and have to leave, boom, the red flag pops up. The red flag that you necessarily do not have right now. Because, like, I even look at it now in my mock draft. This is somebody who is a top 15 pick. He is still just outside the top 10. Even on Tankathon, he's at 15 overall. Like
Todd and Mel.
This is somebody like Todd and Mel have. Let's see what they put up.
That's my thing. Our opinions are great. I trust our opinions, but I do look to Todd and Mel for the insider information. It's not yet available.
Tad.
So right now they're just throwing shit at the walls and seeing what shows up. But I think at the end of the day, they will get the leaks. They will get the information from the assistant GMs, those guys in the front offices, and they will get the picks correct at some point.
I absolutely love it. Let's see. Has Mel Kiper put out anything? I think it's just Todd McShay. Mel Kiper predicts where Mac Jones will land.
No, so I thought they did one mock.
I think it's just Todd that's doing them. Cool. I'll have to look up his last player rankings after I give this point of. I think that the injury thing is, to me, the biggest thing, because if he even performs well, he could sit out this game, show up at the combine, show up in personal workouts, and boom, you're a top 10 pick. Like, to me, that's where my focus would be if I'm Jaylen Waddle, to where I feel like, and yet again, I don't know Jaylen. Jaylen, if you ever want to be on the show, if you want to be on the show before the championship game, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have Nick too, if we need to get that permission from Nicky Saban to get you on the show. But, like, I think this is, if he's thinking about playing in this game, he's not thinking about the draft. He's thinking more about, the last time I'm going to get to play with my Alabama brothers. Because in my mind, he can sit out till the combine, do well at the combine, do well in pro days, and those kind of drills and workouts for teams, and boom, boost his stock back up.
I don't think he can jump Smith, and I don't know if he can jump Chase.
The Heisman thing will play into it. Like, that's going to be talked about now. Devonta Smith is the Heisman, but I'll be honest, there's a lot of people, me including, that think he is the second best receiver on his own team. So maybe there's a chance that he's in the back of his head of, like, you know what? I got to show them that I'm better than Devonta. Like, I know they're brothers. They're on the same team kind of a thing. They're going to be happy for each other, but you're going to want to get drafted as high as possible. Yes, there's benefits from playing, but I just think the negatives far outweigh the positives that can come from one game in January.
Maybe. But if you want to do it, it's where the passion's at. And if it's all about, the draft stock, that's exactly what he has to do. I don't think you can prove it enough to them during tryouts and in gym shorts. I think you got to go out there on a big game and prove to them that you did not take a step back, that you've been grinding, you've been working, you've been putting in the hours in the gym, and you are ready to go and play some football against top level opponents. So I think it sends a message. And again, playing in the Natty with your team, once in a lifetime kind of opportunity. I know for Alabama, it's not once in a lifetime because Alabama's every fucking year.
Yeah.
But I still think for him, it's a special moment in time that, you can't replicate, you can't duplicate. So one of the things that I always rag on for, college is, how much is the experience worth it for you? But I think for these football players, rather than basketball, which is my normal take on it, is like, I think in football, it's 3 years. That's a good chunk of your life. These guys are your brothers. You've lived it. And I think that's a great moment for them to have if he can go out there and help them on the way to a national championship.
So Todd McShay, this was 6 days ago. He had his ranking of players. Yep. Number 4 was Devonta Smith. Number 5 was Jamar Chase. So Devonta Smith is the top. Yep. He's got a grade of 92, the same grade as Jamar Chase. Jason Waddle is at 11, 91. So, yeah, small margin.
1 point, but...
Like, that's the thing. Like, to me...
92 to 91?
What? Yeah, 92 to 91. Like,
so, yeah, 1 point in his grade.
You know what? I didn't even think that he was that high. He's got Rashad Bateman at 10. So technically he has Waddle as the 4th wide receiver.
See, that's the
3rd.
You got to fight for your right.
See, to me, I'm on the other side of Bateman's good. Bateman could rise, but the injury doesn't scare me. I like Waddle. And yet again, he's usually the second receiver off my board. Kyle Pitts is one too. He's at 6. Yeah, he's got
deserves that.
He's got
6.
Smith, Chase, and Pitts, all 4, 5, and 6.
Pitts is one of the best pass catchers we've seen in years, Ricky.
Yeah, I'm looking at quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence is at 1. Zach Wilson's at 8. Justin Fields is at 9. So Zach Wilson is the best quarterback,
game, right? Or was that
this
after
was
the game?
6 days ago? So that would have been what, Monday, Sunday, Saturday? Yeah, before the game.
So now, Justin Fields.
Do you think Todd McShay is that reactionary?
Yes.
Okay.
He's got to put out 11 of these before the draft.
He's got Gregory Rousseau at 16. Shit, I think Gregory Rousseau's a top 5 pick.
That's what we're talking about. So that he gets the clicks, buddy.
Yeah, but
I think Waddle, if he wants to play, if he's healthy enough to play, he's been medically cleared. He's been practicing with the team, and he wants to prove to everybody that he's still got it. Go get it.
Yeah.
Go get it, buddy.
Yeah, I'm on the other side. I don't think one game is going to matter. I think the combine and pro drills can help you out just the same. But the last thing we'll take a look at, Dave, is the NFL. The Browns, interestingly enough, have some COVID cases. I think 5 new cases.
All 3 strains of COVID.
Yeah. T's and P's, too. I know Coach Stefanski is one of the affected. No assistants and stuff will not be making the trip. Obviously, T's and P's to everyone infected. We hope you make a full recovery. But, Dave, the question then turns into, is the NFL going to fuck the Steelers yet again? Because there's in question that this game will even happen.
How? How can you not have it?
It'll get pushed back. It won't happen on the day it's supposed to. Dave, it might be delayed, Dave. The articles say if this game is played on the day it's supposed to. That's why I'm asking you. Is the NFL going to fuck the Steelers yet again?
Yeah, probably. I didn't want to consider that. But if it's the NFL and their option is fuck the Steelers or don't fuck the Steelers,
they're going to fuck the Steelers.
That's 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
But no, in all reality, the game will happen. The Browns are not going to win this game. It would be a miracle if they did, and that would be one hell of a miracle way to cap off their season, where Browns for the first time have double-digit win team, made the playoffs in how many years? Like, this is an awesome run, and they should be damn proud of what they did this year. But this sort of spells the end for them, I think. We don't, and they said there will be more cases tomorrow, probably. So we will see how many people get restricted, how many people are in the heavy contact protocol, whatever you call it. So
that's the thing. Like, let's say there are so many cases, the Browns are in a situation where they don't have enough guys. You know what I'm saying?
They're not down, 30 people. I think they'll be missing 9. But that's still.
My question is, because this is a Sunday game, how do you push this game back? Because even if you're pushing it to Monday, that means the Steelers would, because then it means, let's say the Steelers then win. That means either the Titans, Ravens, or Colts are for sure playing the Chiefs. So like, there's no way that the Steelers can end up playing the Chiefs. They're in the prime spot of 2 and 3, can't play the number 1 seed. Then it would be like, oh, the Bills, they played on Saturday, they rested on Sunday, and then it's like, oh, they get the entire week, where it's like, we played on Monday, Tuesday, we're right back to work. It's kind of like I think that would fuck with me a little bit, where it's like, great, this team got an extra day of rest, we had to play on Monday.
Mm-hmm. So, again, wouldn't be surprised if the NFL went, fuck it,
Yeah.
Just fuck the Steelers. That's what they do.
I don't get how you work around this if you are the NFL. I think the game has to happen when it is, so you keep everything fair to everyone. But like, I saw that, number one, I thought to myself, and I am taking the right to do this on the show, as it is before the game has happened. My pick changes now. Browns are not winning this game. Steelers win. So now my playoffs change to where now the Raven, or does it?
Or does it?
I'm trying to think. Let
change the whole bracket.
Would it? Because I want to do one really quick. So here's my first one. Come on.
Because I'm entertained. I'm sports entertained.
Yeah, it would change my bracket. So the Ravens would then go to Kansas City. So yeah. So with mine, I'm going to have the Steelers win. They play Buffalo. Ravens then go to the Chiefs, and then nothing changes from there. Chiefs still win. Bills still win. And then the Bills still go to the Super Bowl. Nice. So yeah, the only thing that changes is the Ravens will be losing to the Chiefs, and the Steelers will be losing to the Bills. Probably because this game might be played on Monday. Which really sucks, because I thought the Browns did have a chance against the Steeler team. I thought they did. Fully healthy. I was like, now yet again, Big Ben didn't play in week 17. We'll have to see what happens with him out there. But now it's like, fuck. Did they say how many people might be infected tomorrow?
No, they were just guessing that, okay. They've got 3 different strains in the locker room. They're still doing contact tracing, and it'll be like multiple days of like, we'll test Wednesday, we'll test Thursday, we'll test Friday, and we'll see where we're at as far as how many people are still quarantining, how many people are here. I don't know if they're going to be able to practice at all this week. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of stuff in the air, so we're going to have to wait and see.
So I put the bracket back up because Mad Rogue in Twitch chat said, wait, how do the Browns play the Chiefs? It's because they're going to reseed the next round. So if the Browns, Ravens, and Bills all won, the Browns are the 6th seed. The Chiefs would get the worst seeded team. So that's how the Browns would be playing the Chiefs, because there's no really good way to put that into a bracket. But Dave, that's going to do it. That's our show for today. Great show as always. Let us know what you guys think down below on the comment section. If you're into YouTube or watching us on YouTube, remember,
do you even watch?
Do you even watch, bro? Do you watch, bro? Join the Discord. Well, you'll hear that quite a bit, apparently. Join that down below. It's the greatest community. Jake, I forgot you both picked the Bears. But join it down below. It's the greatest community in the universe. Greatest, like I said. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVPvids is how you go ahead and do that. If you want to watch us every day, twitch.tv/MVPvids is how you watch us every day. However, we're also on YouTube at MVP Sports as well. Want to thank you guys for watching and listening. Dave and I will be back tomorrow. And as always, have a good day, everybody.